All right. Dude, the pore's always so... All right, let's go. All right, guys, the last few episodes have been a little bit too granular, a little too nerdy for my liking. Today, we're gonna go pick up weights, and they're relatively heavier weights today, and it wouldn't normally be an issue at all. It's like 84%, but we made a mistake. And I've only made this mistake one other time in my life, and I paid the price dearly, but this time, we're gonna try and cheat what I deserve on here. And that mistake, and the reason why you guys haven't had episodes all week, is because we thought we were deloading this week. So we came into Monday ill-prepared from Sunday's recovery. Like I was swimming, I was doing stuff that I would normally only do moving into a deload. I have a couple buddies in town. And I woke up Monday and was like, wow, I'm not deloading. This is ridiculous. I feel like garbage. We retook a top set on Monday, something extremely ill-advised. But again, we were just playing with this squad and whatever. Point is, we took things too aggressively when we were ill-prepared, and now we're kind of cooked for this week 4 deadlift session, which last week, camera died mid-session. We took 661 on that squat bar deads for the set of 6 and 760 for that fatigue single, like 100 pounds up on the kabuki. And we actually missed on the 661. I don't know, well, actually you guys might be able to still see. I never tear, I do not, and I did not tear. But if you guys see, there's a little mark below this line. There's never anything touching below this line because, I mean, normally the bar doesn't touch, but on that rep 6, I overgripped, felt that skin going a little bit and was like, whoa, and like kind of dropped it. But it's not to say that it was like light. These squat bar deads are getting to that point. I'm actually kind of happy that it's the last week where these things are getting difficult. Whether we go up to 700 today or retake that 661 is honestly really gonna be dependent on how we're like feeling during warm-ups, because I don't know, I don't feel solid. But these aren't things to say before session. We're gonna go do absolutely everything we can to make this happen and not like, you know, whatever, deal with the consequences of actions, which is usually not how it goes. But we're gonna do what we can. Regardless, I think we're gonna take this fatigue single at 8, the way it was planned, and hopefully I can get through this set of 6 this week, whether that's up to this. Last week it wouldn't have been up to strength. Maybe this week it'll be up to strength based on the way I'm feeling, but I don't know, we'll see. We ate our eggs, we ate our bagel. We have like, I think a cup and a half of orange juice here, and we're actually breaking out the superpowers for today. Only real ones know. When I'm feeling garbage, like garbage, not feeling garbage, when I'm feeling like garbage in a session, and we have to stop doing this because trying to stay down at this 225-ish, between 220 and 225, until December, we eliminated these from the sessions, which these are amazing for intra-carbs and just kind of getting that belt to feel as tight as I'd like to if I start to feel it kind of loosen and, you know, whatever really starts to deplete throughout a session. But for today, to hopefully salvage a session that hopefully needs no salvaging, these are our backup plan. So we're gonna have this cup and a half of orange juice, put on our like actual clothes, and I'll see you guys there.
Chain smoking beaties till his brain's broken completely. Get back on his feet, work out, and eat some Wheaties.
And we kick things off with our 1 red like normal, going through our stiff-legged and then our conventional, and maybe if we feel a ton of asymmetry, some Penley rows, but I don't think we did that today. Before finally, obviously, arriving in our sumo stance. And something that's super unique to this session is, even at this 1 red, normally it takes 3 reds, and that's really the indicator that I check grip with. But even off this 1 red, off the rip, we felt like this was like heavy in our hands, which is insane to say the least. I don't know if you guys know, but for those who don't, your grip strength is a massive indicator of where your CNS is at. Of course, not somebody that does a ton of direct grip work and fries themselves and wakes up the next day. But in old Olympic, Russian, and Bulgarian training systems, they used to have their athletes squeeze a grip tester, and if they were a certain amount under their baseline, they wouldn't let them train that day or push it very hard. This is normally where I'd be able to tell whether this double overhand feels strong or not, something like that, and it felt consistently weak the whole time. But this is something that's awesome about hook, and something that people don't talk about, is as we take our first hook set here at 495, the pain that you feel during hook, what that does to your nervous system in terms of just waking you up is awesome. And we did kind of wake up there. And we moved to this 606, which, let me see, I haven't even seen this.
Oh, that was gross, dude. Ew. All right. Well, that is exactly why throughout the entirety of these warm-ups we felt like garbage. We elected to retake that 661 or whatever, 662, 300 keys, instead of going up to that 700 pounds. And obviously, well, let me get down to the bar here. We kind of snapped in, and I was like, damn, even off the rip, off that first or second rep, I was like, I really wish we did go 700 pounds, especially because of the way that this set actually ended up finishing, which was mega unfortunate. Right here, we end up falling over on our 5th rep, which sucked because the 6th was there. And if I was going to shortchange the set anyways, I would have loved to go a little bit heavier. That's the thing with this squat bar, is how aggressively it puts us on our toes. We obviously counterbalance that, so heel biased, and I just fell, which sucks. And we go through our great big bar transfer here, which is definitely the worst part of the day, to be honest. But people are pretty dumbfounded that I do this on this protocol with this format. But if people close their mouths respectively and just did it, it'd probably take about 2.5 minutes, and then I just take a slightly longer rest before this last fatigued warm-up, jumping from that 300 kilo to 706, and this felt pretty solid. I was really happy that it felt pretty solid this day because the past few weeks it had not, and 800 pounds was something that we were slightly nervous about, and we were aggressively reassured after taking this here because it moved pretty good. It moved pretty good, which when you take a massive jump in a 1-rep max, from that 850-ish to 916, you have a very different relationship with that 800 pounds. And doing that after a set of 6 that was difficult, or set of 5 that was difficult, reassures me that 87% is actually now 87%, that 800 pounds. We move into our back downs here, 574, and we actually started to experience a little bit of pain here for the first time in a while. Yeah, the thumbs got raw, we threw on the straps, but the pain was actually the nerve and rib and subscap stuff that we broke and were dealing with for, the better part of a year, if not a little bit over a year. And as you see, when we throw on the straps, definitely doesn't help because we're kind of yoinking it around. And the whip on that bar really just pulls those scaps over so aggressively. It kind of sucks. But regardless, we moved into ending up being our last set of back downs here at 529. And as you guys can see, I'm like, oh, I can't even go into extension there. That hurt even worse. Let's stop. This is not good stimulus, just something that's going to set me back and move on to our modified Jaffe extensions here, where, again, we're really just using this to dial in, not a wedge. I guess we don't have a wedge anymore, but just the initiation of the pull. You guys see me kind of doing this pump, pump, go thing, and just really using this to allow my knees to track in the direction of my toes and externally rotate, get those hips so much closer to the bar like that. But I actually kind of messed up. I put the bottom plate face down so that the lip was what I was grabbing onto. I thought it would help, and it absolutely did not. It just kind of ripped my fingers up. So no more face down on these as a note for myself. Into our no fluff Zercher GHD back extensions with 225, which is a little lighter here. We've taken these up to like 285, 295 for sets of 10, but this gym floor is super duper uneven. I don't know if you guys can tell from the video, but this bar is kind of sliding around left, right, and that is directly attached to my scaps. So we kept it relatively light here. I even dropped it. That is a lie. I did not do a 3x10 with that. I dropped it to 135 and did one set and then body weight for the next just because I was worried about, the pain that I was dealing with. And we're moving into a deload, into Nordics, which is my favorite part of the day. We figured out a way to do Nordics on any lat pull down ever, which by no means is this gym ill-equipped, but finding a Nordic curl in every gym that you end up training at is a pipe dream. So being able to make this work on things like vacation and, whatever it is. The only thing is this seat on this one specifically, this lat pull down and bro combo, is super narrow. So my knees are like, my knees are touching, so my adductors are like squeezed together, which felt a little weird, changed the movement a little bit, but not really. As long as I'm applying pressure through those toes onto that back post, I stay pretty stable, and obviously with biasing all of that internal rotation at the hip, I really do bias that weakest hamstring, which is what I'm looking to do, because obviously all of the bigger ones are helping as well. Into our final core movement, reverse GHD planks with 100 pounds, and let's see if I cheated here. I'll be mildly upset if I did, but not too surprised, to be honest. Let's see. Yep, but not too bad. It's like probably over my second rib from the bottom here, I'd assume, which isn't all too bad. But ideally, we do want this over the neck. And the only reason that I don't take 40 pounds and put it directly overhead, right, like in line with the rest of my body, which is all I would need to do to make this just as hard, is I don't want that lat and teres stimulus, but I'm starting to think that I may just give it a shot and see how badly it does affect the lat and teres holding that isometric. But nonetheless, that was difficult, and it was awesome, and I'll hand myself over to it in the car. That wraps up the session.
Beat out the variables, beat out the circumstances we wanted to, beat out the circumstances and variables we did. We made it happen today. A slight heartbreak on that 300 kilo 6th rep there, just because last week it was skin and maybe a little bit of strength. I mean, we would have pulled it, but maybe at like 9 or 10. This week it wasn't strength at all, and I just fell over, and it was such a hard decision to like decide, like, do I retake this set? Do I not? Because I'm heading into a deload. It doesn't really matter. But I looked at the skin on my thumbs. I was like, that is also, it's just so difficult, dude. It's just like, absolutely not. I'm going to take that as a win. I do wish I probably did take that like heavier jump, even though it wasn't the responsible call. I don't regret it. I look back at it and I'm just like, you didn't feel good the entire time warming up, and you didn't feel going in. And you missed a week 3 set, which like never happened. So we have to retake for whatever reason. It doesn't matter whether it's strength, this, nothing. You just have to execute. So retaking was the right move, but with the fact that we didn't get that 6th rep, because we fell over, I do wish I took like whatever, 683, maybe 700 pounds, whatever it was. Whatever, man. We made it happen. These are my favorite sessions. Of course, as awesome as it is to come in and just feel on point and just nail everything, sometimes those sessions where you walk in not feeling so good. This is something me and Ron talked about before I pulled that 9 and he pulled that 859 for 3 in there. We both walked in, we were like sleeping before the session. And all of those sessions are either like about to be like negative 1,000 or like 1,000. You're either going to be able to turn it on, and when you turn it on, you're in like a very much so like, damn, I wasn't feeling good today. I turned it on, I'm moving, I feel like a machine. Or it's like, you're about to going to be like, yo, sit down, dude, what are you doing? But that concludes our squat bar dead experiment, which was so fun. Plan now, we're going to, I mean, we have a little bench tomorrow, but it's nothing serious. We're going to take it down pretty chill. But moving into this next week, we're going to deload. I'm going to train with Brianni, actually, and Joe on Friday, I believe. Joe's probably going to be doing some hypertrophy stuff, but Brianni, I think, pulls on Friday. I don't know. But I'm excited to see them. And we're going to be deloading over the next week and moving into our heavier stuff, man. We are like, it's weird to say at this point because I don't usually check, but we're something like 20-ish weeks out, which means that at the end of this next sub-maximal triples phase, we'll be starting prep. 16 weeks out from by far the biggest meet of my life. This end goal, the end of the series. So we're going to take a week break. And we're going to start talking about other stuff in here in the car. Keep it, you know, now that I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with this stuff and the editing process and all this stuff, we can talk some like current powerlifting stuff and just general training ideologies. Maybe throw up a question on Instagram and Q&A on Instagram and answer it in the car or something like that. Because there's a lot to say. But thank you guys for watching. I will catch you guys after this deload.